And we're live, guys.
Oh, my
You,
stab.
I'm glad you guys are here. It's been a while since we podcasted. I've been trying to round up the Avengers for a little bit. I'm the Nick Fury of this podcast. You see, uh,
I wish I could say I'm Hawkeye, but I'm not that cool.
you know, a while ago, people would have been like, "Wait, but Hawkeye's not even cool at all." Actually, some
I
people,
know,
some people would still say that, which
but now he's like the fucking coolest.
Y'all, let's go through some brief stuff that we've been doing. Joe, do you have anything for free talk? I don't think I do.
Pre-talk wise, the one thing I wanted to bring up, which is Disney recently announced
Oh fuck.
Oh shit.
in their how do I describe this? And their training and motto and kind of overall philosophy in their hospitality department, the theme parks and resorts, that they are adding what is called a fifth key to their lineup. So to roll this back a bit, all the way back to Disneyland, 1940 something or another, when Walt Disney was making this park, he really envisioned what his park wanted to look like. And so when he was doing this, he made a guide for his cast members and his employees for them to understand how they need to operate within the park. This became the four keys. The four keys being safety, courtesy, show, and capacity. And capacity will eventually evolve into efficiency as just kind of like a rebranding of that term.
And Knuckles.
Yeah. So these four keys have been in place since that originated in Disneyland and has been used in all of Disney resorts. And this has been so influential in the hospitality industry that basically every other hospitality company has adopted this methodology. It's essentially the groundwork of like training your employees. So with Disney introducing the fifth key, which is now inclusion, they are now opening up the idea of being more open to forms of expression for their cast members and their employees. So Disney has a very strict guideline, like how you're supposed to dress in what area of their parks, to stick with their fourth key, which is show. Sorry. Well, probably now their fourth key, but was previously the third key, which was show. Which is basically like you are within, like you look like you belong on set. You look like you are part of the show that is being put on at Disney World or Disneyland. And so with the addition of inclusion, they have added several modifications to their costuming department that allows their cast members to show off tattoos, to have gauges and earrings in their wardrobe, to wear gender neutral outfits as well as being able to swap between female and male outfits if they feel comfortable doing so. So it's just basically it kind of seems like a really kind of it seems like a very basic idea in 2021, but you have to realize is that in Disney World there is a specific costume for every single like square foot of that park that you need to look like. And they each have their own guidelines. So this is a huge kind of like upheaving of this system and going back and rewriting all the rules for these costumes and making them adjust so they still fit within the show, but give cast members the opportunity to show off what makes them special. Now, obviously, we're not going to get things like face tattoos that say "fuck you" on cast members because that's
come on,
damaged on the forehead.
Damaged. But this is something that, like, ever since I did my college program, that I kind of wish that our Pirates of the Caribbean cast members or the Haunted Mansion cast members could show off like their gauges or their tattoos, because those are rebellious sections of the park, and I think your cast members that have those kind of what are seen as rebellious symbols, they should be allowed to display them as it's part of the show. And I think it just gives them these cast members the opportunity to feel more like in that fantasy land of Disney World. And I like the idea of like you're able to be whoever you want here.
Now,
I don't know.
This sounds cool, and it sounds like it's coming from a good place. But if I see like Belle with gauges, I'm gonna be a little put off.
Yeah, so that's my big question is what are they going to do with like face characters and everything? I'm sure face characters might be a little bit more strict, as it's probably there'll probably be a thing saying that you are part of those are more strict guidelines for sure. Like already for Tinkerbell, I believe you have to be no more than 5'2" and under 100 pounds.
And you have to have a dump truck ass like Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the face characters are going to be more strict in what they can show off, and they've always have been for obvious reasons. But just for cast members that are doing like, Jungle Cruise,
okay,
or Space Mountain or stuff like that, that's great because that makes those settings feel a little bit more alive and variety. I feel like and populated with people. We get to see Haunted Mansion people with like these giant hoop earrings, like that's what they showed off. And I just think that's really cool, and I think it's a great way to like really make those environments feel more engaging when they have these varieties in them. And it's easy to do. Like, oh, you have tattoos? Well, you'd be perfect for Pirates of the Caribbean ride. We got a pirate outfit for you. You can show them off. You can make a whole story about them and everything.
So this is the first new key in how many years?
Oh, since like Disneyland opened in like 1945 or something.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So this has been going on for a long time.
Will this be in effect when we go?
Probably not. I will have to double check. They just announced it like earlier this month. So or not this month because it's May, but in April.
Worth noting that Joe, Tyler, and I will be in Disney World in 7 days. Holy shit!
Oh my 7 days! By the way, why does Tyler have the Miami International Airport behind him?
Yeah.
About that, Willer, would you like to explain?
Fuck, I don't remember what this bit is. Next bit, I don't know.
Okay, so we were playing.
Oh no! Let's move on.
So we were playing for Disney World, and like there's been hemming and hawing back and forth between my 3 contestants that are coming with me. And so finally we all sat down and we hashed out what our plans were. And we're being all remote, so we have to do this over the internet. So Willer's the last one to get his stuff done. And when he's doing it, we're all playing League. And he's like, Joe, can you check my flight and make sure it's okay? I was like, I look over. It's like, yeah, that lines up when we're arriving and when we're leaving.
The timing was great and the price was fantastic. I was like, yo, we missed this one.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah. So we're playing, and then Tyler's the only one that's not playing. And he looks over, it's like, oh no, Joe, we've made a mistake. It's like, what happened? It's like, Willer didn't book for Orlando. He booked for Miami. And we're like, no.
Whoopsies.
Willer was gonna go full Roronoa Zorro and fly to the wrong location.
I can just picture us all like showing up, and it's like, Willer, we're in baggage claim. Where are you? He's like, I'm in baggage claim. And we're like it would take us like another hour until we figured out that Willer's at the wrong fucking airport.
It would have taken us 3 hours before we even considered that I was stupid enough to do this. But
thankfully we got changed. Willer is unfortunately gonna be arriving like a solid like 4 or 5 hours after us.
Fine.
But it's fine. I got a bus lined up. He'll be fine.
Moving on. Bradley, what have you got aside from COVID sickness? Because me and Bradley have recently taken our second shots. So,
dude, I got home from my shot yesterday at 9 a.m. And between that 9 a.m. and today's 9 a.m., the only hour I was awake was last night whenever we were going to try to record the podcast. And I promptly fell back asleep and slept until early this morning. It was awful.
Yeah.
But
so you're like shivering and like you have like cold symptoms?
That's the thing. Like,
or fever?
It was like over 70 degrees in my apartment and I was bundled up, except like I felt cold and was shivering, but also I was sweating like a motherfucker.
Damn.
Anyway, as far as like actually cool stuff going on, so recently I took a trip to the Grand Canyon and it was badass because so we didn't go with like one of the companies you can pay to go down into the Grand Canyon with, because we were rafting through the Grand Canyon for 4 days. And you can, like, there's a lot of companies where you can pay them for like a day trip to go down there. But the people we went with are like really close personal friends of my bosses, and so they've been doing like doctoral level research down there since like the 70s. Like their entire family, like multiple generations of it, has just goes into the Grand Canyon constantly, and like all of them are like biologists and geologists and shit. But particularly why they were okay with bringing like extra people down there with them is because in 2018, one of them, for the first time in recorded history, noticed a Canadian goose in the Grand Canyon. And like, huh, that's weird. Maybe it just got lost. Well, then in 2019, they saw a pair of Canadian geese. In 2020, they saw 3 pairs of Canadian geese. So they're like, this year is like, they're like, 2021 is going to be a pivotal year for our research. So they're like, we want as many eyes as we can looking out for these Canadian geese. And we saw like 20 plus Canadian geese plus a shitload of babies.
Yo.
So part of their research is like, number one, why are Canadian geese showing up in the Grand Canyon for the first time? Why is that number going up? And I think the other big thing is like, would a bunch of Canadian geese moving into the Grand Canyon fuck up the ecology? But overall, it was amazing. By the way, the Colorado River is cold as fuck. It was like 40. It's like 45 degrees, and they were like, it never ever gets warmer than this at any time of the year.
Jesus.
I hopped in, and if I didn't have a life jacket on, I would have been fucked, because they're like, if you don't have a life jacket on, I don't care how good of a swimmer you are, you will die, because as soon as you get into the water, you feel all of your muscles shut down. Like every person who got into the water had to have someone pull them out.
Jesus. And they were rafting down this river, drinking the whole weekend. So it's like,
oh my god, I got so drunk.
The fear of me falling in, stumbling my spiller ass into the water would be very scary.
But it was also like, man, I'm never gonna forget that trip. It was fucking badass.
Bradley showed me some of the pictures, and like it looked gorgeous over there.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, that's no big deal.
Do you think these Canadian geese will digivolve into canyon geese?
I think they'll digivolve into Greymon.
You know what's weird about Digimon, and I didn't realize this until I played one of the games, is that like there's multiple combinations to digivolve into a certain endpoint. So Canadian geese could maybe somehow get to Greymon. Like that's how it works.
Oh yeah.
It's very weird. Okay, on my end, I just wanted to briefly bring up that I completed Monster Hunter World Iceborne's post-game. And that last boss, I beat it several times so I could get its full set, because it completely changes how you play the game. That last boss is so good, and like there's an unforgettable gaming moment for anyone playing that game around near the end of the fight. It's a very tough fight with many mechanics. It's definitely the best fight they've ever designed, because like it's got super fair, like you'll just get fucking party wiped if you don't know what you're doing mechanics, but also like you're in this very cool castle arena with like trebuchets and moving ballistas that you have to like strategically use at certain points of the fight. And near the end of the fight, if you do something really good, the Monster Hunter theme kicks in like the final like 2% of the monster's health bar, and you get this adrenaline rush that is unlike anything else in games. It's really cool. You need to be there to get it.
That is cool.
And maybe one day I will carry you boys there once you're brave enough. But yeah, like the last batch of monsters in that game are so good. And I've also been playing some Rise, which I'm slowly making my way through.
I've been playing a lot of Rise.
I'm stuck in Mizusune right now, and I don't really want to grind or anything, so I'm just gonna have to figure something out there. Well, stuck is I tried it once, and then 2 of the people in our party were fucking around, so I kicked them out, but one of them died before they left. And then like, cool, thanks for leaving us with 2 lives left. Everything else I'll bring up later, pretty much, which throws us over to Tyler.
So I've been playing the new TFT format. It's pretty fun.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's you know. And then what else have I been doing? I've been redoing Genshin.
You had some.
Yes.
We'll talk about Genshin later because it can actually be a discussion this time. So, what about those anime you've been watching? Those Netflix anime.
So I watched 2 new Netflix anime. One of them actually came out, I think, last year. That the second season just came out. It's called Be the Beginning, and it's pretty weird. The setting takes place on this like little tiny Studio Ghibli like island, where it's like England. It's like a take on England or some shit. And it involves this prophecy between angels and man, and like creating this new god. But it also follows this secret military police force, and only this one guy named Keith really knows what's going on.
Keith.
Yeah, Keith.
Kenny.
I enjoyed it. That's probably a terrible description of it.
Yeah,
but,
I have no idea what this is still.
Yeah, it's weird.
Did you
the
like
first
it?
season? It was all right. Then I watched High Rise Invasion. And this anime is all about the panty shots.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
This is like just a bizarre anime that's like a take on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but all the animation and jokes are from like the mid 2000s.
I'm gonna have to fact check you here. What part of this is JoJo's?
So here's what happens. It's an isekai
All
where
we're out.
Everybody gets transported into this world where everybody's just on top of these buildings. There's no way to get below the buildings or like go in. So like you have to traverse via rooftop. But some of the buildings have like high story interiors where like there's some bathrooms or like you can find a vending machine. But there's these drawbridges that connect all of the buildings together. So like there's these rope bridges that people have to cross. So everybody looks like Shrek whenever he's like getting into the castle every time. But the main gist of this world is to create God. So there's these masks that walk around and will kill people. And so the point of the masks is they don't just straight up murder people. Their goal is to make people commit suicide by jumping off the buildings.
Jesus.
So they will torture them.
Hold on.
High Rise Invasion.
I'm kind of into this.
I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
So it follows these masks, and they will shoot people, torture them, and like there's all these like exit signs, and like to people who magically get transported into this world, they see exit, but all the exit signs lead to just death, like jumping off the building. Like there's this fence on the top of the first building in the first episode, and there's an exit sign on the fence, and then there's just this gap for someone to just jump off and leap to their death. So these masks all have like a gimmick to them. So like there's like a sniper mask, there's like a nunchuck mask, there's a baseball mask who throws cannonballs. There is like kung fu mask, and some of them are gimmicky, but then some of them are like, I'm lolly samurai mask.
That's not gimmicky?
I guess. I don't know, but they must fight these masks, but then you start to realize some of the people can control the masks, and you're like, oh, why can they control these masks? And then it becomes this kind of like Pokemon JoJo's battle, like I have these masks against your mask.
I like that kind of stuff. Yo, I might check this out. The setting is cool. Is this actually an isekai, or is it when Tyler tries to make everything an isekai?
No, like literally they get transported into another world. She has a cell phone. It's a different take of like Tokyo.
It's not
everything looks.
It's not a traditional isekai, because a traditional isekai has like the fantasy or video game setting. This just seems like death, like you're taken into death dimension. And I'm down for that.
It is basically a death dimension where people just fight and kill to survive.
Are the characters and plot good, or is it?
It kept me enough to like watch it in about 2 days. Like kept me hooked enough.
All right.
I liked it more than B. Our lead protagonists are these two girls, and one of them is like looking for her brother in this world because like she gets transported in. She has her cell phone and she like calls her brother and she's like, "Oh, I'm like, where are you?" And like, "Oh, we'll have to try and find each other." So like, it's them two trying to find each other, but also trying to survive. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. They do lots of schoolgirl panty upskirt shots during the combat and action, and it's like just very in your face, no pun intended.
Anywho, cool.
Yeah,
I'll check that out at some point.
Willer and I also started playing MapleStory again.
Oh, I guess that is worth bringing up. Man, that game, the nostalgia I felt from hearing certain music tracks in that game was pretty overwhelming.
That login music is a bopper.
That login music makes me a 12-year-old idiot again. Dude, my old character names were slaying me. One of my characters, this is probably my favorite one. One of my characters, so some of them have the WWR tag at the end. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did I name them WWR? It's shorthand for We Were, which is a nickname I use in things. I was like, oh, Christ. But one of my characters was called Griffith WWR. It's like, I'm not even that big of a Berserk fan.
Damn.
Why did I call him Griffith?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Willer.
He's just like a light swordsman, like knight kind of character. I was like, yeah, Griffith. Jesus.
Classic Willer.
And then I named the character Geno. So I was like, I don't even like One Punch Man.
Yes! Oh, exposed! I can't wait for one to be called Blue Version. Oh,
Yeah,
it's great.
it's pretty bad.
The thing is, though, is I kind of knew going in Willer wasn't ready for it yet. That MapleStory as an MMO is mostly a single player game now.
Yeah, that's such a bummer. Like, but we should, and I need to work myself to actually get grinding. We should go do one of the hard bosses, maybe, if we can.
Yeah, I would be down, but like
we fought Zakum, which used to be the pinnacle that I could never even come close to reaching, and we destroyed it. It was so easy.
Yeah, level 90 is where Zakum actually gets difficult.
Right.
And then so here's the thing, it is a single player game, and the early game is getting to level 200 now. Like, that is the early game.
Jeez. I mean, to be fair, in like one-ish day of playing, we're like at 60, like high 60s.
You're not even to like 60 yet.
Oh, am I
I
not?
think you're like 50. No, you're like 50 something, I thought.
I'm bitch boy, maybe.
And then like Willer was like, "Oh, wait on me." So I was like, "Okay, I like the character I'm playing." But then I was just like, "I'm gonna go start this other character," and now I think I'm like level 87 or 88 already.
Oh,
and I
man.
only played for like a few hours after
Fine.
work.
Okay, you don't have to just at me next time. All right, I'll play.
But we are leading into a potential MMO party play. Joe's getting his account set up. I've got my account set up. Final Fantasy 14.
We've tried it. That game is so fucking boring early on. Oh my god, I can't stand it. That being said, we did a dungeon one time where we had to like stand away from a circle, and I was like, "Wow, gameplay!" And that is the most joy. That is the most joy I felt in my entirety of playing that game.
circle.
Stand away from the circle.
There's also one where we had to like, we went into a mine and you have to like.
That's the same one.
Was it?
Yeah.
Like you had to like blow him up with like dynamite or something. You can't punch him or he makes more dudes, and it's just. It was something crazy.
We
Maybe.
also didn't have a tank. We were like 3 or 4 DPS characters.
Carbuncle.
I was playing as the summoner, so I just summoned the tank summon, and Carbuncle's our tank, and it's like, yeah.
All right. I'll go see if I have my account. Remembering the carbuncle, I had fun with the carbuncle thing. I just want to get to the good content, but like the thing is, I want to skip to the story to get to the good content, but I know the story is really good when you get to the good content, so I hope I'm probably just going to look up a summary of what I really sped through whenever we get to, like, Heaven's Ward or Storm Blood or whatever it's called.
We just got to grind through those early levels, man.
Anywho.
It's like grinding through low-rank Monster Hunter.
Yeah. But at least I enjoy the gameplay of going through there.
I enjoy the gameplay of the low-level grind.
Joe, I watched Godzilla vs. King Kong, which you talked about last time.
Yeah.
Very briefly, this is a very enjoyable movie. Holy shit, can they just not do these human plot lines, man? They're awful. They're so
they are
bad.
horrendous.
Especially the Godzilla side of this one was really rough. And I like Millie Bobby Brown, but like her crew is just so stupid, and their plotline amounts to spilling a drink on a computer to make spoiler alert, Mechagodzilla stall for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait, Millie Bobby Brown is in
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown.
Is she looking like an adult yet? Because like I'm really
No, she's always
kind
a
of
child.
like I'm like sketchy about how long it's taking Stranger Things 4 to come out. I like know those kids are all through like
That's true.
prime puberty
Yeah.
growing.
They're probably having to write around that. She's also so Tyler. You should really watch the American Godzilla trilogy. I think you'd like it. Just put it on the
I probably
background.
would just some nice dumb
because
lizard fighting.
she's also in the previous one as well.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in King of the Monsters
So
with Ghidorah and
then
Rodan. Mothra.
She's a fun actress.
But,
I should watch
this
them.
movie also makes no fucking sense.
Who cares?
No, like
Monkey fight lizard.
monkey do fight lizard, and holy shit, monkey fight lizard good. The
Yeah.
choreography of these fights are phenomenal. Also,
My-
rest in peace, Hong Kong. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's good.
Monkey fight lizard. Who care about story?
Joe, you mentioned there's a part where Godzilla goes really feral and like lizard-like, and I totally know what you're talking about. That scene's great.
Yeah, the in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you're like holy, like you're just like all right. It's I imagine what it's like. It's like I beat Willard in a fighting game. Yeah, I did it. And Willard's like, all right, let's go. And it just
Time to
fucking
bust
goes,
out the atomic breath.
Yeah, it's like oh fuck.
But
And then he
yes.
doesn't even do that. He beats him basically with basic button combos. It's like all right, win.
Yeah.
That's
So-
how I beat Willard.
So like there is a clear winner in the Godzilla versus King Kong conflict, but the loser does get good hits in.
Yeah.
But there is, and I mean, I'm sure neither of you care enough. So I mentioned Mechagodzilla's in the movie, and when Joe hinted at that, because Joe's like my favorite monster is in this movie. I'm like, I know who Joe's favorite monster is. There's no way they could pull that off, and I'm right. It was so stupid, but it was so cool.
Yeah,
Oh man, these movies
It's
are
RoboCop.
dumb fun.
it's Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. I feel like they cut out a lot because the guy piloting Mechagodzilla was the Shirazawa's son from
Yeah.
like the other movies. So I'm like, I feel like y'all could have like built on that.
Is that the gif of the guy who says "Let them fight"?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Let Them Fight
Okay.
son is here, and he's
Okay.
avenging his dad, and then he's like, let me fight. And
Yeah.
but then King Ghidorah's skull from the beyond the grave takes over Mechagodzilla, so it's King Ghidorah spirit piloting Mechagodzilla in this
Who the hell is
amazing.
King Ghidorah?
King Ghidorah is the three-headed dragon.
Oh, dude, you need to watch King of the Monsters. Like the action's so good in that one too.
Yeah.
So a biological dead spirit takes
No,
over a
that's-
mechanical being.
The skull of a biological dead
Yeah.
spirit takes
So,
over a mechanical.
The
being.
reasoning is that the heads are too long in King Ghidorah for nerves to transfer information to each brain, so they communicate telepathically to each other.
Oh, so okay, but it's still a dead skull doing it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's the excuse they give.
Yeah, no, it's cool though. Trust.
Like, trust.
trust.
It's one of those things you're like, and there's a moment, and Willard knows what it is. Godzilla does a crazy ass thing in the middle of Hong Kong.
Is it when he shoots down?
Yeah.
Hey, what happened to the very critical plot point of the movie where there is a time vortex bubble in between that land and the rest of the world? Also, what is the light source down there? It's so nonsense. But anyways, Joe, did you like the action in this one or King of the Monsters better? Because both of them are so
I liked it
good.
in this one. I like it in this one more. Number
Yeah.
one being is that you can clearly see what's going on in this movie.
This one breaks away from the action less. In King of the Monsters, they broke away to Millie Bobby Brown's family too
Yeah.
much in the final fight. But
Yeah.
man, I miss Mothra and Rodan because they were fucking. Where the fuck are they? I thought Godzilla owns them all now.
Mothra died.
Yeah,
but we'll probably get resurrected.
But every other kaiju is like subservient to Godzilla.
Yeah, but like, why? Like, Godzilla's off to go pick a bone. Like,
Yeah.
he's picking fights. Like, why would he call his?
I like
not
how
a
much.
bitch.
I like how much of a punk he is, where he's like smiling and like chuckling to himself, basically when he's like fucking up Kong with his laser breath. Like, dude, it's so imbalanced. It really is me versus Joe, and you are a monkey. And
it's very sad. I want to be Godzilla.
In other news, Joe, you played Darkstalkers for the first time since the Lad Podcast. So has Tyler, actually.
I did play.
And, man, so first of all, we're using Fightcade, which is an arcade emulator that lets you play fighting games with rollback netcode. And, boy, it just kind of works. I mean, I had to plug in for it to work well with Joe, because Joe is, like, in a giant house where he's 500 feet from his modem.
I'm actually, like, 30 feet from it, but there's, like, 4 walls in between me and it.
That'll do it. Just open them all next time. Maybe the radio waves could get through.
Yeah, I'll take my sledgehammer, just bust out my mirror wall.
And now Joe gets to exist in the existential dread of being so upset that there's not a Darkstalkers 4.
Yeah.
Because those characters are so good, and the animation and like the movesets for all of them, like everyone has like 8 to 10 different specials and they're super wacky.
Yeah.
But like Joe's playing Morgan.
Also, yeah, and the thing is too is like I think like part of the charm for the game is that it's a 2D sprite, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I would feel if I saw them in 3D.
I think with a good 3D, it would look badass. Like
if you have something like Arc System Works, maybe touch around with it.
Not even like it could look like a refined like Street Fighter V art style with more like
maybe
edginess, and I think it would still look good. It's the backgrounds need to be looking really good. That's the thing because Darkstalkers, like there's one stage where you're fighting on a building, but you're fighting on the side of the building as it's looking down on a street, and you see the cars moving in the background. It's like one of the best fighting game stages of all time, and it reminds me of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, where you're fighting Riku and Xemnas on like those.
And
buildings.
You have like helicopters that are flying around, and they're like have spotlights on you.
It's super cool.
Also, all the character designs in that game are just straight fire. It's got a gothic horror theme. But it also pulls from like Grim Fairy Tale. So you have like Little Red Riding Hood with a gun as a character.
BB Hood, aka Balletta, is maybe the greatest fighting game character ever created. I'm putting my foot down. She's probably my number one favorite original fighting game character.
Yeah, everyone in there is sick, and like some of them are a little bit cringe. Like you have Jihad, who's just cool bat boy.
Oh, what? Jeddah's awesome. Jeddah's cool. Jeddah
has a sweet move where he grabs you and writes a contract with your body and your blood and then slaps you on it.
Yeah, he like smashes you on the contract, and then there's a unique... So many specials in this game have unique animations for multiple characters, and this came out in the 90s, so like it's really impressive. Like, Dimitri has a special where or it might be Morgan... No, who has that special? Someone has a special where they like turn every character into a waifu, including the boys. So like, for example, Sasquatch becomes like this cute girl in a parka, and then like and I think something that makes those characters really pop out is that their limbs morph when they're doing attacks. So there's a lot of morphing and like resizing of the limbs, and it just gives it a really unique feel. And it's super fast paced, and the combos are short, and the damage is high. So I like games like that. And in a time where fighting games are more popular than ever because netcode's getting better, there's a bunch of series you can try out. They're a lot more beginner friendly. And horror games are pretty in right now with like Dead by Daylight and the Resident Evil series popping off even more than ever. I feel like people who say Darkstalkers has no chance, if Capcom puts in the budget, they do have a chance to come back. But
and the thing is, too, is that they're like every other crossover game from Capcom.
Yeah, they're in all the other crossover games. So, but I digress. I'm glad Joe enjoys playing it. We'll definitely... I
enjoy playing it. Yeah. I like playing as the snowman that just slaps people.
So Tyler was learning Sasquatch. He started learning QB, but he really got used to Sasquatch. The thing is, Tyler needs to work on his inputs because when he does, he's gonna be a fucking Satan in that game.
Satan.
A Satan.
Big freeze.
Yeah, the ground freeze move is fucking bullshit. We'll play again at some point. It's very easy to boot up, which is nice. I also played a little bit of the JoJo fighting game, and I've mentioned this before, but the reason why I could ever get into that game is that I look at the Part 3 roster, I'm like, none of you really stick out to me as someone I would want to play. And then I was like, well, wait, I could really like playing Mariah, actually. And then I found out she's the worst character in the game, and that just was a real big bummer. But maybe I could become like a low-tier god? I don't know. There's always a hope. Tyler, you watched The Boys and Invincible, which are roughly the same show, as I understand.
Literally the same thing.
So I'm gonna say I liked Invincible more.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've been hearing really good things about it.
I have it booted up in a tab that I haven't pressed play on, but it's there.
Yeah.
So I liked The Boys. We watched The Boys. I knew it was gory. I knew it was rough around the edge, superhero stuff. I don't think I really just enjoyed the politics of the characters a whole lot, and I think that was what kind of turned me off about it. I mean, it's good.
It's okay, right? Like I give it like a 3 out of 5. It's like fine.
Yeah. I watched Invincible, and I'm like, yo, I'm about to go read the entire comics of this. I know someone who read all of the comics for Invincible, but like in between episodes 4 and 5 coming out.
Nice.
Like they thoroughly were enjoying it.
Is this season done, or are they still
the
coming?
season finished.
So the season's done. Yeah,
It's all on Amazon Prime, which is dope.
it is. Yes. Don't spoil anything about it for yourself. I think it's very good to go in blind.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question, and if you don't want to answer for my sake, you can choose not to. Is it just superhero story, but what if Superman bad? Or do they actually go somewhere in? Because I'm so fucking tired of what if Superman bad. Even Worm gets into what if Superman bad, but thankfully they executed it well there.
Even Superman gets into what if Superman bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So here's my spiel about it is
Okay.
it involves Superman's son, and that's the main character we follow, I guess. But I guess this is episode 1.
I've seen the scene where he massacrates the Justice League.
Yeah, it's not what if Superman bad. It's just Superman bad. It's like, we should worry about this.
Okay, no, but yeah, so like that really puts me off because I'm just like, Injustice does this, the like Justice League movies kind of do this, like
Superman bad for 5 minutes.
I'm just tired of the overpowered strong guy, and like Worm kind of soured me on this because like one of the strongest characters is just a dude who slashes you far away and is really charming. But then there's other secrets that you find out later. But we don't talk about those. Like,
so I enjoyed it because, like, first of all the characters are just knockoff like superheroes, and I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I've never really, so I hate DC, so I've never watched the Superman bad gimmick.
Yeah,
so I guess
The Boys is also Superman bad, but you know what? That Superman character is also by far my favorite character of the show. So like, cause he's very mentally weak. So they do things there where like, okay, I'm still enjoying the story of The Boys because like Homelander, like in season 2, Homelander's off like just working through his fucking mental issues the whole season. And then like that way they don't have to deal with him as much, and then let some of the other of the 7 shine and all that. But it's barely about them. But like if it's just like a story of like we need to figure out how to survive Superman because he's just gonna show up and kill us all.
That's the C plot.
Okay, all right.
Like A plot is about Superman's son becoming a hero and like trying to find his way.
Is it actually heroic, or is it just like, yeah, but what if superheroes but edgy and gory and realistic? Because that
no. It follows the story about the like heroes trying to be heroes.
Okay, that's good. I like the hero story where the hero is heroic, and it's not like, yeah, but he's an anti-hero. Like, I've seen enough of that. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. It's gonna live or die by how well it executes on these writing things.
Yeah, no, it follows. We get main character, and it mostly follows. So like, there's A plot, B plot, and C plot. Superman Bad is the C plot.
Okay.
And it's like it's building up throughout the season, but it plays very much like a old Cartoon Network hero show. Like the animation style actually reminds me of like Static Shock.
Yeah.
And Batman Begins era.
It reminds me of Justice League.
Yeah, very much.
A little bit. It's a more realistic.
And yeah, it's mostly about him trying to find his powers and like way.
Okay.
So I like it in that capacity.
I mean, everyone loves it. I'm like, I'll probably like it too, but I'm like, what if Worm just ruined everything for me forever?
Yeah, I mean, it could have, but
What if I'm Bradley now?
That's like playing One Piece.
You know my pain.
I feel you, brother. All right.
It's not Worm.
Okay, y'all. Talk about Genshin, because Tyler's been back in, and I want to get back in, but I don't remember what account I logged in. But if I log in, I don't get the Returnal bonus, so I can't go check what my account is, and I'm kind of like, can y'all check for me? Is that possible?
Tyler also came right
man.
back in, like when they added one of the biggest updates yet. They added all kinds of shit, and I think one of the kind of potentially cooler things is they added like player housing, where in one of the story quests in the game, you find this lady who has these like teapots that have worlds inside them. And like they added this quest for like you help her out, and then she gives you a teapot where you can make your own player house in the middle, and it's like a fully blown level editor. And it's really sick. So I'm having fun with that. Also, they added some more hot chicks in the game, which, you know, I'm always for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got on right after, was it the Venti rerun?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to get Child, because it's like I had no actual main DPS characters. So I got Child, we're on Zhongli, there's player housing in it, there's the Root Abyss is actually like apparently really difficult or whatever it's called. And people are like, yo, this is kind of impossible with like the starting characters. But I'm enjoying it like very much. I think it's good. It's some good shit, you know?
The only time it seems like you're not enjoying it is when it's like, oh, you just need a grind to be able to like, because these enemies are really tough. Because it seems like you've run into that a couple of times.
My world level went up and I really wasn't prepared. I'm not the smartest Genshin player where I thoroughly prepare for each level up in each character. I very much am just like, I'm going to play with the flow. And, you know, there's a lot of people who, when they play gacha games, they know you're supposed to, like, prepare. I don't do that. I just am like, let's fucking play the game.
Thing with Genshin is, by having the greatest open world of all time, it invites you to just kind of go with the flow. So I feel like by design, you might be... And it seems like you might accidentally raise your world level and, like, be stuck from exploring for a little bit. Which
I saw Tyler do that.
That's exactly what happened.
Damn.
Yeah.
That would upset me, so I'll have to keep that in mind.
So that happened to me, but I got my boy Bradley, and Bradley helped me run some dungeons that I needed to do. I could get some of the stuff I needed to start leveling up my characters more.
Friends.
Yeah, friends. Friends come in clutch in the game.
This is
so,
Yeah, they're all right.
The PS5 update came out, which is why, like, I played it briefly the other day on PS5 before the PS5 update. It already ran.
I downloaded the PS5 update just because I want to see it in the higher resolution.
It already ran better, and like, just as soon as I touched down on that world, I was like, oh, I remember everything I genuinely loved about this game. I want to log in, but because they started that thing where if I haven't logged in 14 days, I just need to figure out how to get my email because I want to get back in.
Yeah, man, we need you on so we can get our login bonuses.
Yeah. That's a good game. I'll say it. I'll be the first to say it.
I like the world exploring.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Me and Bradley are convinced that some point during the summer they're going to release the new area.
Yeah, like if it's in 1.6, I would not be surprised.
Bro,
I'm scared that it's not going to be. So, like, the first two areas in this game, one of them is like Britain or England,
It's Germany, I think.
Germany, and then the second one is China.
Yes.
Third one's going to be Japan. And if you keep up with our One Piece stuff, it looks like the concept art looks exactly like Wano.
oh, that is so badass. Oh,
And like all the characters they've showed for it have been super badass, and like I'm very excited for it because like each of the nations has like their god or whatever, and all the gods are about different things. So like Mondstadt, the like air nation, their god is like the god of freedom, which was kind of vanilla, I thought. But the Geo region, Liyue, their god is the god of contracts, which made for like the most badass fucking story quest. And I'm excited because the Japan region that we're going to soon, they have the god of eternity.
Ooh.
And I'm very, very excited about what's been teased for that.
I enjoy the story in this game.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy the side quests too because these developers do some fucked up side quests.
That's man. They really they have infinite money and they're not really lazy about it, and I'm really happy for that. They could really rest on their laurels, but they're clearly not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the one thing they're doing wrong is I would give them a shitload of money if they added skins for the characters.
Oh my god,
alas,
you're such a
It would
cock.
be bad.
I would
It
do
would
it.
be bad.
I would do it so hard and fast.
Man. They're probably gonna release alternate versions of it. It won't be a skin, but it'll be like Christmas Child or whatever. I don't know who that is.
Oh,
But
if they release Electric Child, Bradley.
Oh my god, dude.
yeah, I could see them doing maybe alternate elements of the same characters, but mostly like character in different outfit with different moves would also likely be a thing eventually. Once they need more of the cash influx.
So yeah.
They what do they do an update? Like once every 2 or 3 months?
Every 6 weeks. I think they
weeks.
promised that they would do a major content update every 6 weeks for at least the first 2 years.
So 1.6, we've seen concept art for the new region. We've seen some 3D environment stuff. And in the game files, some hacker actually has a full video showing off one of the new characters.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's leading into 1.6 is going to have those, but we'll see.
I'm generally critical of some of the Genshin character designs. I feel like there's just too much busyness to some of their designs, but the new ones look clean.
Like the samurai boy from the new region, I'm very excited to
He
play
looks
as him.
so cool, and I hope he is win because
In a game with so many hot chicks, if you can get me excited to play one of the boy characters, you're doing it right.
All right, so that's where Bradley spends his money. Let's talk about where I spend my money. Which is Teppen. I've gotten back into Teppen due to the Ace Attorney content is now in Teppen. Also, new Ace Attorney game announced. I'm eating right now, boys. It's been years since you've seen me this happy.
Not necessarily it's not necessarily a new one. It was a game that hadn't been localized yet for America.
It's 2 games that have not been localized in America, and one of them had a fan translation, one of them didn't. I went through this entire hoop to get the fan translation, but I never pulled the trigger. And I'll never pull. I'll just give them money twice. I don't give a shit. It's Ace Attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy this game in multiple consoles. I want more. But anyways, Ace Attorney cards are now in Teppen, and they're super cool. They introduced a new mechanic. All the new packs have a new mechanic they introduced, and I just fell in love with the game again. I was running an Akuma and Jill deck where I was just getting constant 15 win streaks before running into a loss and then hitting another 15 win streak. And the thing about Teppen is because of its active combat, it makes for the most intense matches. I recorded this match because the replay was just too good, where it came down to a split second between me or the opponent winning, and it felt so good. I lost, and I still went away wow, that was an incredible match. With the Phoenix Wright cards, they have a evidence mechanic where you will collect evidence with the cards and then consume them for bonus effects with the present mechanic, which kind of works like Teppen has a couple of other gimmicks that are somewhat similar, but this is still like unique for what it is. The new cards are awesome. The Ace Attorney art looks great. I got the Secret Winston Payne, which is him losing his hair in the third game when Mia beats him in the trial. So Phoenix is not out yet. Phoenix will be a skin, which is kind of good because in the game currently, so there's 16 hero characters, and each of them have 3 skills, and each of these skills are more impactful than like a Hearthstone character ability. They're so impactful.
They're more like ults in League.
They're more like ults, and they change how you play your deck completely. Like, your deck is based around whatever skill that you have equipped. So with 48 skills, it gets kind of hard to balance, so they wanted to slow down the skills while introducing new characters. So I think the skins is a cool concept because, first of all, he's a skin for Chun-Li, who has 3 incredible skills, so he's already going to be meta. And then he has a new animation for each of the skills. So, like, it's not going to be like Chun-Li doing the animation even though you're playing as Phoenix Wright. It's unique animations per. So that's exciting. I hope one day they also add Apollo as playable. You also get, like, Ace Attorney music. It's going to be, like, the corner theme is going to sound so good. I'm loving this game. I got Joe to download it so I can use him because they have, and this is worth bringing up, they have this amazing feature where for one time you can receive any 10 cards that a player is willing to send you. And the player doesn't even need to own those cards. He could just send you whatever cards you need. So I'm waiting for the current meta to develop, and then I'm going to have Joe send me all the legendaries that I might need. So I don't have to pull them from packs.
Yeah.
That's cheating.
You can only do it. You can only receive once, but you can send as many times. So it's like a catch friends up to the game system, which I think is really cool.
So this reminds me of a topic I wanted to bring up, I think, a few weeks ago, but we never got around to it. And that's kind of crossover in like competitive games. So to relate to this similarly, a few months ago, Magic the Gathering announced they are doing crossovers with the Lord of the Rings franchise and Warhammer 40,000. So my initial reaction was like, great, cool. I like crossovers. I like the idea of because I like Magic Gathering's mechanics. I don't have to relearn the entire system. I like the idea of like, how can I take this person's moveset and put it into this format, like we do kind of with like One Piece and like our fake MOBA that we would never make. But then people got really, really upset about it. And I was trying to figure out why. And one of the main reasons why is Oh, Tyler's gone.
He'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah. One of them is clarity. Which, and it's kind of like, it's since.
Oh, he's in Genshin.
Yeah.
Good man.
So one of them is clarity. So like if you have a card, like for example, Phoenix Wright, that's actually Chun-Li, and you don't know that, then how is your opponent supposed to look at a glance and know what that does? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, all the Ace Attorney cards are their own card, so it's like
no. But I'm talking about the Phoenix Wright skin itself.
Yeah,
it covers up Chun-Li, so when you go into the fight, you don't see you're fighting Chun-Li, you see you're fighting Phoenix Wright.
No, but then you just click on Phoenix Wright, and it'll tell you what his skill is. That's the thing. You could just click on a character and see what their skill does. So it's
right, but also an inherent mechanic of like card games in general. The card art is a mechanic because it allows a player to like quickly see what an opponent has. Or make a judgment call quickly whenever they're looking at an opponent's hand or what they're playing. So it's like it's still a thought process that has to go down. And like think about it in League. Like imagine if League did a crossover with One Piece and they made skins of like the One Piece crew. Like I feel like it'd be so much harder for people that to identify who is who in League if they are just completely different looking characters. Does that make sense?
But then after a little while, you just be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, it might be jarring the first time, but then someone explains to you, it's like, oh, there's crossover skins. And I'm sure League would have a way to be like, oh, Luffy's actually Zack, so if you know what Zack does... But I mean, also, you'd be looking at Luffy, and if you know what Zack does, you'd already be like, oh yeah, that's Zack. So it's like it's more about how much you know of the game to begin with.
It's just and you're right, and it's more of an entry level thing of like a new person coming in and they're thinking like Phoenix Wright's a whole different hero. Where can I find him? Where can I locate them? And like, why isn't he here? Doesn't he have like? It's a weird. I think for a lot of people that play card games. Because what generally happens is whenever you look at cards, you look at the card art and you know exactly what the opponent's doing, and you can make a judgment call off of that. I don't know. I'm just upset that people don't like that 40K is coming to Magic, and I thought I was excited for it, and then everyone threw a fit, and then we get the Microsoft Paint art in the latest set for Magic.
Yeah, that looked insane.
But that's all I have about that.
Just to end the Teppen talk, I just want to talk about the event that they came out with Phoenix Wright. So with each card in Teppen, there's flavor text. That is aside from the functional text, which I know was a problem, say, in Runeterra, where like they would kind of mix in some flavor with the functional, and it got a little confusing. So I'm glad that they separate these. With this, the flavor. So the event is preempted by like Phoenix is defending a character called Dan Hibiki from the Street Fighter series in this weird world where all these like Capcom characters are existing in the same world. So like Phoenix is defending him and Frank West is collecting evidence, and Trish from Devil May...
That's the photo guy, right?
Yeah, that's the photo guy from Dead Rising. And then like Trish from Devil May Cry is a witness, and Cody from Street Fighter is like the victim of the crime. But then like allegedly Brachydios from Monster Hunter is who committed the crime.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Brachydios is the bad guy.
Crime, but maybe not.
So like all this amounts to like the card text tells the story of the case, so it has the evidence, and like this card describes how this character's alibi, and this card describes that on that night Dan Hibiki took the shift from Wendy Woldbag from Ace Attorney to be a guard, and that's how he was able to access the park to destroy the statue. So you're supposed to read these cards and piece together the secret, and then you answer out a questionnaire if you understand the mystery, and you get extra packs for answering. I'm like, this is the cutest, coolest event. Like, it is so perfect because of just the way it's told through the cards. It's very unique, and I love it. And then just, like, all these Capcom characters in the same mystery is just hilarious to me.
I was like, I thought this was a card game.
It is a card game, but it's so much more. All right. Let's talk about League.
No!
Okay.
No.
All right, let's talk about... So, Gwen came out.
Yeah.
And Bradley's been really looking forward to playing Gwen. And, we play enough League to where we should probably talk about it from time to time.
I play League like once every other day, but the new TFT is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Me and Bradley are enjoying it a little bit.
Yeah.
But y'all talked about that.
That's all I know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Bradley's doing good.
No.
Bradley's doing good with Kindred, and League's horrible.
Dude. Yeah, I've been trying to get good with Kindred because, like, there was a phase where me and Willer were, like, actively trying to climb ranked. And it was kind of sad because, like, we could both go, like, 12-0 or some shit, but, like, some other person on our team would feed. And then, there's nothing we can really do because I feel like the champions we play, or at the very least the champions I play, can't really carry a game. Like, no matter how fed you get with Poppy, like she can't really 1v5. So I was like, man, I should play a champion who can carry games. And like everybody online is like, yeah, Kindred is like a 1v9 champ. So I spent a long time trying to get good with Kindred, and I'm still not great, but I got Mastery 7. So that's kind of my point where I was like, if I get Mastery 7, I might be okay. taking her into a ranked game. So
yeah, like climbing ranked was probably the most fun I had with League actually. Despite like the fact that League's ranking system is just awful, where I gained so little LP despite always being a good player in my team. But I digress. It was still a fun climb because like it's just like the skill level between the 10 players, the skill level is pretty even. I will say sometimes it's like, why did you put these 5 into the same team? You could have like put 2 of them into my team and it would have been a more fun, fair game, but I digress. So maybe I want to jump back on ranked. I play support mostly, so while I can kick ass, especially with Zyra, it's hard to carry from that role.
I think it would be fun to talk about some point, like ranking systems in games and
that
how
could be its own discussion.
Yeah, and how they don't matter.
Depends on the game. What do you mean they don't matter? All right, let's do it now. What are you talking about?
what is this?
Like games that have regular modes and ranked modes, it's just like I don't know. They don't matter, you know?
What are you talking about?
Like you're not gonna become a professional. Like if your goal is to like become a professional, like I want to be the best League of Legends player in the world. Like you want to go pro. This is your rank. Like you have like 4 or 5 League of Legends accounts. All of them you're getting up to Challenger, Masters. Like great, perfectly fine.
I only do rank so I can be a higher rank than my friends.
I do it because it's fun.
I can literally play better. I can literally play what like Willer has played. I can pull it up right here. He's probably got over 100 ranked games.
Yeah, they're cucking me super hard. It's bullshit.
And he is what? What are you? Silver 4?
Silver 4. Yeah. Bad.
Okay. All right. So I've got a whopping 12 ranked games.
Yeah, but here's the thing. League has declared that you are better than me. Therefore, you will just get more LP. And that's... Hold on. Okay,
yeah.
But we're talking about League, who I just said has a terrible ranking system, and you're saying all...
They do!
You're saying all ranking systems don't matter because this one game has a shit ranking system?
Not fighting games. Fighting games are different. I like those.
Okay, then not all ranking systems are worthless. Also, card games, climbing up,
but
like the Teppen World Finals. The Teppen
worthless.
World Final, they took the top 32 in the ranking, and they asked them if they wanted to be in it. Like,
I find most team-based ranking systems to be kind of apathetic, where
I completely agree.
Like you can't really control that, and it doesn't really attribute to how good you are at the game.
Yeah,
I think what you need to do in team-based games is you need to have. So one thing that League does in their battle passes is that you can get points for every win that you get, and after when you hit a point threshold, you unlock a reward. So I think it'd be better, like instead of rankings, you have like the seasonal battle pass thing, and you're more focused on that. I think that's a lot more fun.
You have to have ranking for people that are into it. Like you.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, it's the team sport of it, because I could literally go 12-0 in Garen, and then bot lane literally are trolls feeding, and I still fall.
League needs to not dock you points for losing.
That's what I'm saying.
If you got an A or S rank, you should not lose points. And I think
because right now it's purely like it is solely and only based on one Boolean, and that's whether you won the game or not. It has nothing to do with your performance within that match.
And which they can measure. They do measure your performance in the match.
So it's like, why don't they base it on that?
And here's the thing. I'm not even saying because it's like, well, then, like, but it's a team game. You should be rewarded for winning. Yes, you'll get your 15 to 20 for winning, but then you, like, either lose 0 or maybe gain 1. Like, even if you zero out or gain 1 or 2, but you got, like, an A or S rank and you were, like, the one good player in the team, I would be completely happy with that ranking system, you know?
Yeah.
It's a team game that you're playing individually a lot of the time, and you shouldn't lose all these points because of one person leaving. Like, it is an asinine ranking system. And really, it's clearly built to keep you in a loop forever. It's not built to actually test if you're good at the game like a fighting game one is. It's built to keep you in elo hell so you play for longer.
So here's another one. Ranked Apex Legends.
That ranked battle royales is really weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one because I mean, if you're like, if you can win 10 games in a row of Fortnite, like, okay, yeah, I think that's a test in itself to show how good you are. That's like the old Kung Fu tradition where you like fight the 100 guys in a row or whatever. If you win all those, like, yeah, okay, you should get ranked high. But like at the same time, I find for 99% of players, ranked is an arbitrary system to say I have a shiny gold trophy.
Oh yeah.
No, here's the thing though. When I rank in League, you feel that you're playing with people that are roughly better than, like, slightly better to slightly worse than you. And I do like that. I feel like, with the rare exception of, like, oh, this is clearly Smurf, I do like how it gives you an even game. With norms, they're a little looser with the matchmaking. And also we queue up in 5s in norms, so of course we're gonna get matched up with really good players.
Yeah, and see, that's my thing, is it's like, we play norms a lot. And whenever I play norms by myself, I get matched up with people like platinums, diamonds, and golds, and it's like, I only have ever climbed to gold. Ever. But the game thing, like, that's why I don't like playing the game by myself. It's like, I'm not diamond, I'm not platinum, I'm not gold. Like, even gold right now, I'm still in silver. That's generally where I'm at. I'm an average player of this game, but you want to think I am just the best. And I'm just like, dude, stop. No, like, I'm not like that. I'm a casually decent player who just likes to play some normies. You don't have to throw the Smurfs and the tryhards over with me. And that's my rant. My rant's over.
Good rant. I agree partially on the team aspect. All right. I've been playing some games that I would like to talk about very briefly. Man, when I'm not playing League, I'm so much happier because I get to play other games. And here's the thing, I enjoy my time with League because I play with y'all. But then also, like, the whole night went through when I could be beating other games, such as I've been playing Final Fantasy VIII. I started it a while. You know, it's become pretty clear for anyone who's been listening to the podcast as the start, or you guys were like, if a game comes out and I urgently need to beat it, I will beat it ASAP. Like 13 Sentinels, beat it in like a week.
Yeah.
If a game came out a long time ago and I'm just casually playing it, like Dragon Quest, I will play it in chunks and then take like up to like several months breaks. And that's what's happening with FF8 right now. I'm currently in an on period where I'm playing it, but I don't want to talk about it yet. I have a lot of things to say about this game because this is the most bizarre game. Like, it seems like the deconstruction of an RPG, but it's a Final Fantasy game, which is like the most mainstream RPG series of all time. It is bonkers.
It's also a follow-up to 7, which is probably the most prolific RPG of all time.
Y'all, I just went through a sequence where they're attacking like your home base. And this is a PS1 game, mind you. And you're flying on this like machine with a soldier that you're trying to fight. And you're doing like this weird mini game where you have to either punch, kick, or block to knock him off the machine. And the machine is flying through like all of your allies fighting, and it's like the most ambitious thing I've ever seen in a PS1 game. It looks genuinely super cool. That game's gameplay system, I think, would give Tyler an aneurysm. It is the strangest system of all time. There's no MP. You don't get money from battles. It's just like, it is so weird. But I'll save that for another day. What I do want to spend some time on is, a while ago, I bought the Mega Man Zero collection, right? And I beat Mega Man Zero 1 as soon as it came out, and I was like, okay, I'll get to the other ones in a bit. So I started 2. For anyone familiar with the Mega Man Zero games, which I think would just be Bradley here, in those games...
and Tyler.
Sir.
Did you play Zero? I know you're an expert.
Tyler's played more of them than me, I think.
I played a few of the Zeros, but also I've played the ZX and ZX Advent, too.
Right, which I'll get to eventually. So, with the Zero games, in Zero 1, 2, and 3, you get EX moves from beating a boss at a certain rank. And an EX move is basically like your special moves, like you get to have different buster shots and you get to do like really fancy saber swings, and they really spice up the combat. In the most annoying gameplay decision of all time, you can only get an EX move if you clear a stage with an A or S rank, and you have to maintain that A or S rank throughout the game. This means don't use the optional cyber elves, which are helpful, like, oh, I'll heal you, or I'll clear out the enemies of the screen. Like, don't use an entire game mechanic, because that'll penalize you for 15 points. Don't die at all, because that's going to up the amount of enemies you need to kill to get the rank. Don't take too much damage, but that one's more lenient than I initially thought. You can take, like, up to a bar and a half and still be like pretty good for an S rank, and then clear the stage quick and do all the side objectives if there are any. It's like, oh my god, okay, I guess I'll just have to play really well. And then you realize these games are fuck hard. These are so difficult. You can barely beat them without the save states. You know, like, you'd have to run the stage multiple times. So you have to run a stage that is difficult and do super well at it and get to the end and fight a boss. And these bosses are pretty nutty. They have, like, insane moves that's going to take you a couple of times to beat them. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll just never get to play with EX moves, right? However, the ZX Collection came out with a system called the Save Assist system. Basically, this has checkpoints in the map where if you hit them, it creates a save state of your game. They're like physical objects that they place in the world. And these save your state as you are currently in the game. So if you die, it doesn't count as a death, and none of that damage you took is going to be factored into the ranking. You get sent back to that save assist spot. So when I realized that, I was like, wait, if I really wanted to, I could use this system to actually try to get A and S ranks. So that's what I did. I used that system. I would go through from checkpoint to checkpoint, and I would have to master each little leg of the journey, where it's like, okay, I got hit like twice, reload the checkpoint, master this area, don't get hit, kill everything, move fast. And it actually turned out to be really fun. And I feel like this is a really good balance, because it's like, okay, the checkpoints are there, but you still need to like really perfect each set of the stage. Because if you don't, you're going to get at the end and you're going to have taken too much damage or have gone too slow and not get your A rank. So I recommend anyone play the game like, if you care, because you can very much beat the game without the EX skills. But I beat it yesterday. Some stages took me many tries. Some bosses took me many tries. But it hit that spot of my brain that I get when I play Kingdom Hearts level 1, where it's like, oh, I'm dying all the time, but I'm mastering this game. And it feels so good, because you have to like, you have to look at your arsenal, you go through a screen, you get near the end, you see the next checkpoint, you're like, man, I could do that better. You reload the checkpoint before you hit the next checkpoint, and then you try to do it better, you try to like look at what options you have with your tool set, and you're like, oh, I could handle that enemy with this weapon, then switch to this weapon and hit this enemy, then completely switch to another form to get past this stage, and then boom, 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 I got through it, no damage, really fast, and you just feel really good. So I started 0-3 now. I'm going to do the same thing. It's just a really fun way. And man, those games, when you see how like what it's like to master them, you realize how good those games are. They are just like kind of peak platformers, which the only weakness is they were on the Game Boy Advance, so the screen's a little small. So sometimes like you need to really be watching out for an enemy that's going to come off screen, because you don't have that much time to react. But like, they're so fast-paced, and your moveset is so badass, and you see, like, speedrunners run through the game, which there's a, like, bonus mode they added where you get to speedrun certain courses, and then I was, like, watching the replay for, like, the top players in those courses. I'm like, oh my god, you guys look like fucking ninjas, because the game really allows you to just go crazy. So, yeah, that's like, my little gaming check-in. This podcast sometimes is just like a diary, so I can go back and be like, what was I doing at this hour?
Diary of a wimpy kid.
Diary of a Wimpy Willer.
I'm brave. You guys would never try to A-rank 0-2, okay?
You're
Nope.
right.
I ain't.
It's worth it. It's very fun. But also, like, that save assist system just makes those games playable. Because without it, like, those games are frustratingly hard, but with it, those games are super fun. Any purist that's like, oh, you should turn them off to get the authentic experience. The authentic experience is kind of bullshit, man. And
the authentic experience is bad. That doesn't mean you need to keep it and keep doing it. Exactly. I'm looking at you, racist.
Jeez, what is the authentic experience of racism?
So, to relate back to Disney World, there was an article that came out that a guy was upset that they were updating rides to be more in line and more non-racist. Is like, it's not the authentic experience of Disney World that I had as a kid. Like,
oh my god,
Jesus!
Yeah.
I like the Song of the South.
Jesus,
pretty much.
Yeah. All right, boys. Tell me, what is a Mugen Train?
Mugen Train!
You didn't see it, Tyler?
No, but I've read it.
Yeah, I read it too.
Okay. Y'all can talk.
I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. Mugen Train is the Demon Slayer movie. This is essentially Demon Slayer Season 2. So if you are watching Demon Slayer, you need to see this movie because this is a canon movie. It's an entire arc within an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Pause. Will this movie be on like a free streaming service ever?
Maybe on
probably when season 3 is coming out because it's making buku bucks. This movie's breaking all the records.
Yeah, like everyone's fucking seen it, right?
So the plot of this one basically is dad and two idiots are hired to go and investigate a train. And by dad and two idiots, I mean Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. Is that how you pronounce his name?
It's Inosuke. Get it right. Even I know this.
Sorry. But they go investigate this train that supposedly people are dying from demons on and they don't know what's happening. And basically the whole arc takes place on this train. It's a really cool concept. It's got some great visuals to it, obviously. It's got a decent soundtrack. I saw it in the sub version. There's a character that gets introduced there that when I watched this, I really liked him more this time around when I watched it than when I previously read the arc.
Is it that character with the migraine hair that everyone loves? Where it's like a fiery hair?
Yeah, him. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. I understand more about what this character is. I think it's very weird because the pacing of this movie is kind of, I don't want to say all over the place, but it's strange for sure. Like, because it is an entire shonen arc, there are definitely segments that feel like should be elongated more, or like we're 2 or 3 chapters, but now are much shorter.
Ooh.
And then you also don't get nearly as much screen time for like Zenitsu and the pig guy because like we have to focus on our 2 main characters.
And were those pivotal arcs for like those characters kind of growing a little?
It was more for Tanjiro, which is fine because he's heavily influenced in there, but they're good insights to like what motivations are for these 2 other characters and get an idea of how, even though they are 2 idiots, they do have this sense of like self-righteousness and they have strong willpowers just as much as Tanjiro does. They're just not nearly as like I don't want to say strict, but like they're not nearly as disciplined. Mm-hmm. So like they have the ability to be strong-willed and overcome things, but they sometimes just have to like, get convinced otherwise to do so. But this shows off that they can do that on their own during this arc, and their little dream sequences, which is really neat.
Neat.
So yeah, and I enjoyed the movie. It was a fun time.
Would you recommend people read the manga for this section? Like, do you feel like what they cut out is going to impact people's opinion on certain things in the future?
I don't think so. I generally have been enjoying the manga more than the anime. I know Tyler's the other way around, but but that's mainly because when I read that first part of the manga, I got a completely different tone than what the anime was showing. But I think this movie does a really good job when you're watching the continuity of the series. You cannot watch this by yourself because you're just going to be hella confused. So I do not recommend that. I recommend that if you are going to watch this, watch season 1 and then watch this movie. I think the visuals are stunning, like I said. I'm extremely excited for the arc after this because I think it might be the best arc so far in the series. It's the Red Light District arc.
Red Light District, good.
Yeah, that one does a really good job of like that one has really great chemistry with its cast. Like this is like I want to say almost like Water 7, like they're interacting with each other and they're doing their job kind of thing.
Are you really the goal of comparing a Demon Slayer arc to Water 7
I know.
is
It's not nearly as at that height, but like I get the sense of like fondness to the series.
That's spit take worthy, but all right.
Yeah. It's like if I think back to Demon Slayer or if I think back to pre-time skip One Piece, what is the arc that I think of? I think of Water 7 and all of that.
Yeah, okay.
When I think of Demon Slayer, I think of the Red Light District arc as like being the thing that I would go to and enjoy again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so I'm excited for those villains that come up from there. I think the villain in this arc, it could have been more creative. I don't think it's a cool idea, but I think there becomes a point where it just gets really dumb looking. I'm like, oh, whatever. And I think the ending to this movie also comes out of nowhere, because it's bizarre in the sense of a movie and doesn't make sense in a 2-hour format. It would make sense if it was a long running show and this was the end of the season. But when you get to the end of the movie, you're like, what the fuck? Why did it end like this?
Interesting. Why?
Yeah. Tyler knows how that arc ends.
Why is that?
Because it's supposed to segue into season 2. Like, it's a canon movie.
I see. So, like, it does stuff that's, like, clearly, like, a connective tissue to the next arc, but then you're not going to get that.
Or it's not even... So you...
It's okay. If it's too hard, we move on.
No, basically, the best way to describe it is that this movie has a very bittersweet ending to it. So it doesn't follow the conventional, like, this is the ending and it ends. It's like, all right, this ends, and now we have to do this part, which is like the first like 0.5 section of the next arc, but we have to do it now because it takes place now in this section of the of.
Is it when he goes to see the family when Tanjiro?
No, it's right after the train collapses. There's another fight. Remember?
So you don't get that fight?
You do get that fight. It's just like in the scheme of the movie, it doesn't make sense in like a narrative hero structure.
Joe is saying that the story ends and then you have the beginning of the next arc, right?
Kind of, yeah. It's like
I think Joe just doesn't like that it ends badly.
I don't think that it's not that I don't like that. It's just when you look at a shonen movie, you kind of want the heroes to feel victorious in the end.
No, that's the exact opposite of Mugen Train.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he's saying. First of all, I don't look at shonen movies because anime movies are really bad. Why am I dying?
I don't know.
COVID.
But I mean, no, like in Mugen Train, the bad guy, like the good guys lose. Like that's the point of Mugen Train.
Spoilers. Stop.
Yeah, that's
guys.
What I wanted to get.
All right, I had Willer's Secret 1, which was me playing games that I haven't talked to y'all about previously. I have Willer's Secret 2 now. I've been watching an anime called Demon Slayer. Maybe you heard of it. I've been watching it dubbed.
I did that too.
I'm liking it dubbed. It also lets me put it on while I'm playing Teppen, which is great.
Whatever.
Y'all, this show is hella mid. What the fuck is everyone talking about? I am appalled. This is so carried by its animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's good animation.
Now, I'm being a little cheeky. There are things I like about it. But for this to be one of the most popular manga of all time now, like, it's sold...
okay, hold up.
It's sold stupid amounts the last few years.
This is the first manga I've ever bought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be fair, I also went and read some of the manga, so I do have some context. I was like, I wonder how this fight plays out in the manga. All right, where do I start, man? I think
Okay, first of all,
I'm gonna start. Okay, yeah, you go.
I want to ask you about the beginning of the series. So I read the manga first, and then I watched the season 1, right?
Yes.
So in the beginning of the manga, it starts off with Tanjiro's family just being killed and eaten. That is the pivotal point of the manga.
Introduction.
Strong. Solid introduction. And then you go through these like next 4 or 5 chapters where he's in this training arc and then he goes up to the mountain. And when I was reading those chapters, when I read them, they had this very strong melancholy feel to them, at least to me. Like they felt kind of dreary and drab. And then like you're building up to this moment where like I'm gonna go up to this mountain and I either survive or I die. And that will either determine whether or not I can save my.
Oh yeah, it's not like that at all in the anime. It's just like
no,
it's like it has training montage music, and it's just part of the training montage.
Yeah,
and I'm a montage.
And I'm like, oh, that's so lame because that moment when he like fights the ghost guy and he cuts the rock feels like a big moment in that manga.
It is.
Oh no, but it's fantastic. That moment's fantastic. The music elevates that moment in the anime.
So Willer, how far are you in the anime?
I just got through the arc where they meet the doctor. Interesting thing about that doctor lady. I have seen the final volume cover of Demon Slayer. I was like, that doesn't look like Tanjiro and Nezuko. Who the fuck are those? It's the doctor and her assistant. Why are they on the last cover of the... That is like... That to me is the biggest hook in the series so far. Because it's like, the last cover of a manga should have the main characters. Why the fuck does it have these two randos that I just met? So that's got me really interested. So I just finished that arc, and then a crow showed up. It's like, Tanjiro, we need to move the plot along. Tanjiro, go to the next plot point.
Plot crow!
Plot crow!
All right, let me start.
Plot crow isn't better than plot sparrow, though.
Let me start here. I think the writing is just so lazy at some points. Kind of painfully so. Like... There was this moment where the Tengu guy is like, they have a flashback to it. They don't even show these moments. They just flash back to it. It's like the Tengu's like, guy's like, by the way, I put Nezuko under hypnotic suggestion, which we haven't brought up once, to make her feel like all humans are part of her family. So that way she has a very plot convenient reason to fight for all the humans. I'm like,
you got it. Yeah.
Gross. This is gross. And then the plot crow. There is no, like, what's with modern shonen and just, like, burning at the speed of sound, where they're just like, we gotta move from plot to plot, this is a new character, he'll come back later, plot, plot, plot. Like, holy breathe. Please
But the
breathe.
birds are how they communicate.
Yes, but it is so lazy that an arc ends, and then you have a 2-minute denouement, and then you have the plot crow show up to move Tanjiro to the next plot point.
So, where I am right now, I think the biggest weakness of Demon Slayer is its pacing and how quickly it moves. And sometimes it's to its benefit. But there's so much going on, and I feel like sometimes when I read it that the author was put under pressure from Shonen Jump to not make this series go on forever.
I think he was put into pressure to like get to the point because we're losing series right now and we need a hit.
Yeah.
I feel like modern shonen are trying to get to the hit One Piece status without building to it.
This was written by a woman, I believe, by the way.
Yes, which I think is really cool. Like, I feel some of the sensibilities that it's like you write different, and I like that. Yeah. Also, like, I'll save it, but like that is my main complaint. Another one is the pacing and just the writing are so basic at some points where it's like
now
they introduce those ghost children in a boulder, and then then conveniently. The guy who killed them runs into Tanjiro, but that I like, and then the Tango Mask guy never brought it up, so it just felt like the connective tissue is just weird to me. You're just moving from stuff to stuff.
I think he mentioned that he had trained people before,
yes.
So you find out like, oh, this is the last kind of group of kids that he trained, and they both died on the mountain.
But
I thought
it's so confusing, especially if you were to read or watch this weekly to weekly, you'd be like, who the fuck are they? And then you wouldn't even know the next episode. I think it would be the one after.
Yeah, I am in the convenience of like I just get to read this constantly.
These and like with the like we introduced the doctor lady so fast. She just shows up. It's like I'm a demon. I see you can tell. and then you have to very quickly introduce the gimmick of her assistant. So it's like, okay, but these are the negatives. I do have some very strong positives that are going to make me finish the season. One, I think is interesting. I really like the tone of the show. I think it's really good.
I do too.
I don't know.
Other than my complaints about the beginning, I think the tone is good.
I will say, Willard, you're not to where the show is good yet.
Yes, I feel like it. I must be, because if I am, then everyone's been lying to me. I have a coworker who will swear by this show, and I'm like, all right, let's see.
The next arc is where the show goes from good to great.
Drums!
Because you get drums and worse boy.
I want Bradley to be that boy for Halloween. I mean, not Bradley. I want Tyler to be that boy for Halloween.
I would love to be that boy.
No. So the tone, it's melancholy, but when it switches to comedy, I think it works really well. And I don't know how to explain it, but the show is so weighty. Like, the characters' movements are weighty. The dialogue and the plot is weighty. Like, there's consequences and people are dying, and it's like there's no going back on it, even though we're definitely going to go back on the Nezuko thing because that's the whole plot. But I think that's fine because everything else is like, the stakes are real and they hit. So props for that. I think
the demons don't pull punches, which I really, really like.
Yes. I think not necessarily the faces, because some of those eyes are just like it's very distracting, and the hair is also sometimes really distracting. But the outfits are so fucking fire. The character designs are so good. I particularly like Tanjiro's outfit during the exam where he's got the waves.
Yeah.
And then finally, to the action and the animations, of course, God tier. I really like the flower motif that they use when the doctor lady's using her blood scent. It looks real snazzy. And I'll get to my favorite effect in a bit. But how does the fan base feel about Tanjiro? Like, do you get a sense that people like Tanjiro? Like, he's not everyone's favorite part of the show. Like, it's probably Zenitsu or like the boar guy or whatever, or Nezuko. Like, what is the consensus on Tanjiro?
I don't know. I like Tanjiro. I
don't have anything against Tanjiro.
Yeah.
All right.
Tanjiro, to me, like, I kind of really like him.
Let me slide in. Let me slide in. I love Tanjiro, and Tanjiro is what's going to keep me going.
Good. I'm glad.
And it might be the dub voice acting just being excellent for him. I think he's such a... he's very standard, but executed so well. And I couldn't put my finger on it, and Joe said it earlier in the conversation. Discipline. He feels so disciplined when he's like going through problems and going through a fight.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
And
like, it just feels so good, and like
I think
he has tender moments that are really good.
So my favorite moment of Tanjiro, and it's in this season, and it's in the manga. It sticks out more for me in the manga, but it's very early on. So right after he gets his demon hunter license or whatever it's called, he gets his first assignment. He goes into a village, and there's this like these swamp guys or like the people that the demon that's in the hole, and it's like killing women.
The pedophile demon.
Yeah, and so he goes and he fights it, and then the guy that he's like kind of like he's with and like his like fiance gets killed. He starts going off of him.
It's like, what do you know?
And it just cuts back to he cuts back to Tanjiro, and Tanjiro just has this face of like, I understand where you're coming from. I get what you mean, but there's nothing I can do. There's this. He has this panel of the face that like it just conveys so much emotion of like, I understand completely how you feel. I know the frustration you're going through, but I also know you can get through it.
I call this the guts technique from Berserk, where you have a character go off on a character not understanding what the character went through, and then you just cut to a character's face as they're like, they don't fight back. They just kind of take the verbal abuse that they know does not apply to them, and that will always work for me. And that is how, The
like
moment in
Tanjiro
Berserk where Guts has that moment is so good, and I also like this moment with Tanjiro.
So it's like, to me, that solidified Tanjiro of like, okay, this is a character that I can just get behind, and he has been through enough. He's been through a lot. Like, his whole family gets murdered in front of him, and he has to deal with his now demon sister. But also, I think is that there's great moments where he's still kind of like a kid, someone that's still growing up. Like, he has these silly moments still, but they're not like completely distracting, and it keeps them like grounded and as like in wholesome, which I really, really like.
And then the final thing I want to bring up that I really like, and how come y'all didn't tell me this earlier, that the main character is a water user? Like,
I probably did.
Okay, sure I thought it was like one attack, because I've seen that one.
No, it's his whole.
No,
thing.
he has like many water-based attacks, and yes, he's not actually using water,
Yeah,
but
he goes dance, water, dance.
He does. His third form is called Dance Water Dance. What I really like about Tanjiro is that so far he has 10 sword stances and techniques. And then he cycles through them throughout the fight to get past situations. And I'm just like, you have this defined moveset. It gets me back to Zatch Bell, where Zatch has he learns more spells throughout the series, but you know what his spells are. And then Kyo and Zatch have to be creative how they use those spells. And like, of course, these fights are not anywhere near as creative as those, but like it just works. And the water.
It's great because it feels like you're watching you eventually like feel like you're watching a fighting game. It's like, oh, he's using this move. I know what that move does, and I know what it can do.
Yeah,
like water wheel.
I like water wheel. I
like water basin where he does like a slash and is able to do some like splash damage.
Yeah, his down air water basin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then his neutral air water wheel. Anyways, I like it. Anyways, the show has mid writing. We'll see if it picks up, but I really like Tanjiro, and that's where we're standing. That went on for a while, but also this is the first time that we've gotten to like really talk about Demon Slayer. So
I'm very excited for Tyler to get his next volume, so I can keep reading because I am at the part now where shit has actually hit the fan.
I will say the manga has like no impact. It was a little the tone. I see what you're saying with the tone, but man, I saw how he took out like one of the demons, and when he took out that demon who killed the ghost children, he did it with a cool water attack in the show. In the manga, it's like a weird panel where it's like blurred out and there's no cool effect to it. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Yeah. Let's move on. We're almost done here. I'll just briefly talk about Returnal, because I think I'll talk about this if Tyler checks it out later as well, or Joe.
Yeah, I gotta get over the hump of buying that.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, because everyone's like, man, video games should be more expensive because they're expensive to make and it's unfair to developers. And then we actually implement it, and everyone's like, ooh, I didn't realize that they would actually do it.
I know.
I've always been like, I mean, I've been very clear about how I feel about that stuff all the time, and I'm very much like, I am for that, but I spend my money on games how I want to spend them.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely worth the money. And I don't say this lightly, it is the first genuine AAA, like, next-gen game. Demon's Souls came out, it's a remake, you can get a similar experience. Miles Morales was a PS4 game tie-in. This is the first big next-gen game, and you really feel it. The production values are insane. The 3D audio is nuts. I think even Bradley would like this game, actually, because it's got so many horror elements and like, creepy shit that he might be down for.
Is this Demon Souls?
No,
it's Returnal. My bad. I might have not said the name. So Returnal is a third-person shooter hyper roguelite.
What the fuck?
So you are Sarah Bullock. You've crash landed on a planet, and this planet is fucking with you, and it's shifting around. So each time you die, you somehow return to the crash landing. And it's a big mystery. The plot has really hooked me in so far. And every time you die, you come back and the planet has shifted a little bit. And you're trying to get to something called the White Signal. And I don't even know what it is yet, but I'm sure it'll make sense as we get there.
It's your mom!
The gameplay... Maybe! Hold that thought! The gameplay is... this super, like, it plays so good. And as soon as you pick up the controller and you feel the character, you're like... oh yeah, this is gonna feel good, because you move really fast. It's a very serious tone that you feel like would be in a slow-paced, like, sci-fi exploration game, but it is a hyper video game. I know none of y'all are familiar with the Nier games, but in the Nier games, enemies shoot like a shit ton of projectiles at you in a 3D space, and you and you cut through those projectiles. In this game, that's not quite like they're shooting even more projectiles than Nier bosses. And you don't get to cut through. You just have to, like, dash and maneuver your way through. You're playing a 3D bullet hell. The bosses are fucking nuts, okay? This game is a mix of so many things where I feel like the number one comparison that I could make that y'all would understand it is Risk of Rain. So that's one. Mix in with some Doom exploration.
Oh my god.
Mix in with some Alien, the film. Mix in with some Metroid Prime 4. Everyone's like, oh, so Metroid Prime 4 did come out. It's this game. And even though it is a roguelike, it is also a Metroidvania, where beating bosses and like getting further in the run unlocks mobility and obstacle clearing options that will allow you to very quickly get back to the arena that you got to before. So like these runs are long and they're meaty and the combat's fucking phenomenal. The gunplay feels amazing. I want to talk about the use of the PS5 controller, right? As soon as you start the game, you walk out of your ship and your controller rumbles with the pitter-patter of the rain, because the PS5 controller has like an upgraded version of like Nintendo's HD Rumble, which is all the HD Rumble is already fantastic in the Joy-Con, and it's like it feels really good on the PS5 controller. And then like there's sandstorms that you walk into and you feel the sand pelting your helmet through the controller, and shooting the gun feels really good because it's using the haptic triggers to give you feedback, which I generally wouldn't like, but in a shooter it feels really good because the way you shoot your primary fire is you press in the L2 stick slightly, but then if you press it in hard, you instantly switch to your alternate fire, which is like your ult on a small cooldown. And it just feels really good to play. The controller feels good. The 3D audio, everyone praises the audio of this game because you put in headphones and you are so immersed. You shoot a bullet, you feel like it's sound reverberating off the walls by using like that 3D audio technology. And then if it wasn't content being one of my favorites, third-person shooters and roguelikes that I've played, with one of the coolest settings that I've played, the story is also so interesting because there's these sequences where you find your old home in this planet, and you're like, what the fuck is this doing here? And then at certain points of the game, you're allowed to enter the home. And then it turns into first-person PT. It becomes a horror game while you're in this house.
Shit.
I saw that.
And it's psychologically fucking you up. And I don't want to get into like what happens in these sequences, but I am so tense. Like my breath, I don't really breathe. I'm just like, please get me out. I gotta get through this sequence because it gets like really creepy at some points. And the way that they're fucking with you is like revealing the story. And then the last element I want to bring up is like, so you crash land on this planet, and the first thing you find, you explore a little bit, and then you find a corpse, and you look at the corpse, and you're like, this looks like someone from my space company. I wonder if someone crash landed on this planet before. You look at the corpse identification, and it's you. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then you start getting recordings of yourself. And it's like, and the main character's like, I don't remember recording these recordings. And like the main character speaks like the perfect amount of time. It's not distracting at all, but when she does speak, like it moves the plot along a lot. And then like these recordings start talking about things that you haven't experienced before, and like you get so disconnected from this person that's going through these recordings that you don't realize that it's like the main character doesn't even start referring to her as me. She starts referring to her as her. So it's like like this person is going insane, and it's like this weird, like, I don't understand how this is happening. Like, this is a weird time loop where like I've done things that the player hasn't accomplished yet. So it's getting really weird. It's very psychologically interesting. The gameplay is phenomenal. I just beat the second area, and this game has a really good system where once you beat the boss of an area, you only have to go optionally fight that boss for buffs. Otherwise, the game lets you very quickly jump to the next area. You just explore a little bit, and it even tells you what general direction you need to go to find the portal to the next area. You go to it. As soon as you get to the next area, there's an item there that will raise your weapon proficiency by quite a bit. It's a variable amount for how low it was before. And your weapon proficiency is how good weapons you get. So at the very least, you can very quickly go to the area that you need to go beat, and you'll be caught up in weapon level. And the problem is, by rushing it, you're more prone to like having to rely on RNG to be like, well, I got here pretty fast. I didn't really build up my max health or any of my stats. So I hope that while I'm exploring this area, I can find these things. But yeah, that's Returnal. It is a must-buy. It is Game of the Year right now. Everyone who plays it is blown away. and this is very. I feel like all of you would have something that you would enjoy in this. However, it comes with 2 bad caveats. One, it's on the PlayStation 5, which is very hard to get. 2, and this one's one they're fixing, and they really need to fix it because the runs, a single run could be 12 hours of gameplay. Or like 8 to 12. It's insane. The fuck? It doesn't have to be, but like you can explore so much of these environments.
This sounds like Noida a little bit in how much you can explore. Like good 3. You know what? Nah, we're doing this. Doing it right now.
Don't. Well, yeah, okay. You can, and I think you'll really like it. So the big problem is you can't save mid-run, which isn't a problem because you can just set your PlayStation on rest, and unless you want to play a game before you finish your run. It's not really a problem. The actual problem is that sometimes your game will crash.
Oof. No!
And this has happened to me twice.
No, bad game.
And in both of those crashes, it was the most deliberate, like, it was my ultimate run. The last one really fucked me because I had this incredible run where I'm like, I can finally beat the second boss with an insane arsenal. And it crashed right as I was going to go in there, man. I was going to go in there, and then I beat him later. I just manned up and I rushed there and I just fucking learned the pattern and fought.
Hypothetical. What if that's intentional?
No.
I was about to say, what if it was designed by the developers to stop people from getting too far ahead?
This is the kind of game that fucks with you like that. At
Yeah.
some point, my Roku popped. Like, I was playing the house sequence, and the Roku thing on my TV turned on. Like, the little lower bar that turned, like, is asking if I want to do Roku shit. And I was like, I looked at my controller, my TV controller. It was just sitting there. Nothing was pressing on it. I was like, did y'all just do that? Did the game just force my television to Roku? That would be nuts. It can't be. It can't be, because that'd be too godlike. It must have been a weird...
Isn't it a game that Tyler really like do that shit?
Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
No, Eternal Darkness.
Eternal
Darkness.
Dark. It's all dark. They're adding in a save game feature where you get to save and turn off the game and come back. Perfect.
Okay,
That's all.
Nice.
That's all they need. Joe, Falcon and the Winter Soldier wrapped up. Tyler, you did not
Fair.
watch this.
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just do
All
it.
right.
How did y'all
Very
like this show?
I think I posted. I would give this show like anywhere between a 6.5 to a 7.5 out of 10. I think.
I enjoyed it more than WandaVision.
I enjoyed WandaVision much more than this.
I enjoyed WandaVision much more, but it's not uncommon to hear people like this more because it's more traditional Marvel and like.
Yeah.
I would say this is better.
I'm dumb.
This is better than over half of the Marvel movies.
It's just better than the original Winter Soldier.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
But you know what? And so here's the thing. I really like this show. The one thing that I don't like is hello.
But we're talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Mr. Falcon.
Yeah. Are you planning to watch this one, Bradley?
I'm waiting to see what people say, but it doesn't sound like the hype was as immediate and powerful as WandaVision.
I do think if you're invested in the MCU, this is a must-watch.
Absolutely.
And it's only 6 episodes, so it's not that bad. I think you could bang it out next time, like hanging out.
You
with
could do it
Andy or
in a day, to be honest.
But I will say, so the problem with this show really arises in the finale where the villain didn't go the places I really wanted. The execution of the villain fell flat, and I think that's most people's main complaint.
Yeah, I think so too. And well, yeah, and I understand why, because we're keeping characters around to build other story paths, which I think is fine.
Oh,
but
that's not the villain I'm talking about. I'm talking about the antagonist, like the main antagonist of the show.
The one that gets carried at the end, or
the main antagonist.
There's like 3 antagonists.
No, there's one main antagonist and one sub antagonist. And the sub antagonist and then the power broker. The sub antagonist is godlike. He is perfect. that is one of my favorite MCU characters right now, and I hope to see more of him.
I can't take him seriously.
But it's so good though.
I can't take that actor seriously because I know him from 22 Jump Street. I just can't.
I think that was perfectly executed.
Okay, yes,
and
I agree on that.
I'm talking about the main antagonist execution was left something to be desired. I was really into that character initially, but it just didn't really pan out. What I will say worked consistently was Bucky and Sam. Even though this is definitely the Sam show featuring Bucky. Bucky still has some great scenes, and I've always liked the Winter Soldier as a character. And I like how his plotline kind of resolves.
I kind of wish that his plotline we got maybe one more episode that was focused on him, because I really like that setup that they had for him in episode 1.
The thing is, though, they really did need that time for Sam. And, because Sam, and I came around to him near the end. I was like, Sam's a little dry, but then I remember, like, so is Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, Captain America, is also kind of a dry character, but I fell in love with him through his actions. And like, the choices Captain America makes throughout the MCU is what made me, like, really make that, like, one of my favorite characters of the whole MCU.
Yeah.
And by the end, I think Sam had a character arc and actions that made me understand him as the character that he is and really see him as a Captain America-like. Which isn't, like, I will say also, like, the way that the title changes near the end, I think was brilliant. I thought that was, like, actually really beautiful. This show tackles some race stuff, and aside from, like, one scene that I felt was forced, I thought it was all, like, really good. Granted, I'm not an African-American man, but I feel like I can really empathize with what they go through, especially with the plot line with Isaiah Bradley. I thought that was really well executed and resolved.
I do too.
Good action scenes in this movie. I will say the last fight is underwhelming, but portions of that last episode, particularly with, like, that helicopter scene, right? It is not like a crazy fight scene or anything, but it is so heroic and well executed for me.
I think that's what makes it so good, is that, like, it has multiple dynamics where, like, it's all about just saving people. It's not about tackling some big bad guy at the end. It's about, I need to rescue these people. So you have a much more engaging dynamic of intention whenever you watch Sam have to go through this, especially when you get these other divergences along the way. And you get these really cool moments. That the final way that he does it was just like a fuck.
That was
like,
so cool.
Yeah. Like, those guys are dead.
Yeah, we talked about the character of John Walker is just S tier. I love that. Love that goober. I hope to see more of him. Episode 4 was fucking nuts, bro. Like, that was crazy. And yeah, like the
Baron Zemo.
Baron Zemo was so good in this. He stole the show in those episodes.
He really did.
He's so entertaining. And I always liked Zemo in Civil War just because it's like, this is a normal human being who, out of pure spite, was able to manufacture this intense situation where Captain America is fighting Tony Stark and Black Panther. Because of this... And people shit on Zemo because, like, he's just a normal dude. It's like, but I think that's what makes him cool. And, like, there's not much time spent on him. But I like the pure spite that guy has for super beings. I thought was really entertaining, which leads to maybe my favorite scene in the season, which is when Zemo gets to a batch of objects that are plot relevant, and he lingers on them for just a second before, like, doing his thing. And that small second, and, like, the way that scene is shot, I thought was fantastic, and, like, made me really like the character. So that's a slight spoiler. Zemo's in the show, but but he's also memed at this point because he danced once. So I think a lot of people know.
I'm very excited. He's definitely coming back, and I'm excited for that.
Like with Agatha Harkness and, like, John Walker and Zemo, they're all being set up to return, which is why.
You know, it'd be great. Dark Avengers. Zemo.
That's what they're
Agatha.
setting. That's what they're setting up for with Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Why I think this is mandatory watching, Bradley, is because these characters, like, even the minor characters, will come back, but also, like, the way Sam ends the show makes it very clear that Sam's gonna be more important for the MCU going on.
Well,
So,
they already announced one thing.
what is he getting movies? Are they doing more movies?
Yeah, they announced Captain America 4.
Oh, badass. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So because like Captain America is such an important character and like his legacy is important, and now Sam and Bucky are both wrapped into it, I do think because of that it is worth watching this. And also like there's just some really good scenes all throughout. I enjoyed it. I was saying, I don't know if Bradley was here when I was saying it, but I think it's better than at least half of the MCU films, if that helps you in any way.
That's pretty good.
Because,
think it's-
because it has more time to breathe and explore themes that I enjoyed.
It's much better than like Phase 1 films by like head over shoulders.
And it feels like
much
Phase
better.
1 films, but like with nuances that they've earned over time.
Overall the show's good. In my personal opinion is that if I had the choice between WandaVision, something like WandaVision or something like this again, I would choose WandaVision because I just really like that show a lot.
Yeah, this is very much an MCU show. However, my choice is both. I think that they both need to exist.
I still want both.
Which is what we're going to get with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Hey.
Loki's coming out in a couple weeks, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Loki comes out next month.
Badass.
This month is Star Wars month with the Bad Batch, so that's what we're getting this month, and the next month will be Loki.
Disney Plus is kind of on fucking fire with this, huh?
Yeah.
Good on them.
Yes, the global power has the power.
Wow, who would have thought? All right, let's wrap up this podcast with Pokemon Snap. Did y'all take any cute pics,
my
boys?
God.
Yeah,
Dude, like unironically, there are some pictures I've taken. I'll just look at them and be like, "That is such a good picture of Bidoof."
It's true. You're like, oh my god, you got a stick.
I know.
It is $60, right? That's what's keeping me from getting it.
I think it's fully deserved, quite frankly.
I would have been much happier with a $40 price point, but as someone who played Pokemon Snap on the 64, I was like, I'm going to get this. I'm just going to go ahead and get it. And I did. I'm enjoying it. My one complaint has just been the cutscenes and the dialogue between advancement in these missions.
Really?
That's it.
No Professor Oak going wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the thing is, one thing I was really wondering about is whether they would just keep how tight the game was. Because like in the first Pokemon Snap, it's like literally you boot up the game, you can pretty much just go directly into the courses, and then between each course, there's no real dialogue. You just go right back into the next course. And for the most part, it's still really tight like that. Occasionally, you'll get like a dialogue between courses. I'm like, shut up and let me go take pictures of Pokemon. But no, I've been really enjoying it. It's
how many hours have you put in, Bradley?
I probably put in like only 3 or 4 because I was so sick yesterday.
It's like
I put in like
12,
4 or 5 at this point.
12 to 15 hour game, right? So it's a decent chunk.
Yeah. So what I really like about the game is something that Pokemon Snap that I really, really enjoyed, and I do in this one, is that you get to see the Pokemon in a natural environment.
Yeah.
And I think they do a really good job of showing those interactions.
I imagine this one's better because sometimes in the old one I'd be like, this feels a little weird. Like Charizard falls into the magma, or like Charmeleon falls into the magma and turns into Charizard. I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. They kept you can do, if you do certain things in the certain right order, you get secrets unlocked.
Yeah.
But they have now added a function where you can scan the environment and it will show you like this is a location of what a secret is and gives you a small hint of like what's happening
here. Do y'all
here.
like that feature, or do you feel like you'd prefer?
I don't know. It depends. I go 2 ways about it. Number one being like, oh, well, I know it's here now. Now I can go back and do it. But on the other hand, it can be frustrating because sometimes I'm like, in my loser brain, I'm like, well, how do I do this now? Can I do this now? What do I need to do? I throw Apple not work. Why don't Apple work here? So I go back and forth on it. I think overall it's better because it just lets you know what you need to pay attention to. And there are still some other things that you can do that aren't stand out, that get other interactions from Pokemon. For example, like there's a Magikarp that's like there on the shore. He won't do anything, but if you throw an apple at him, he'll jump up in the air and you can get a different shot for different points.
Yeah, because like he's doing a different pose.
Yeah, so you still need to experiment with what you're doing to get different things. So long as that's there, I'm happy with it. One thing in this game that I really like is that there is a leveling system for the areas. And basically what happens is that when you first go to an area, the Pokemon are very hesitant around you. They don't know why you're there. They act like wild animals. Like you're kind of like, you scare them. So for example, like there's a Grookey and a Pichu at the beginning of the first level. And when they see you, they run away and they're scared. But as you level up that level, when they run by, they look at you and they wave and beckon you into the area.
Wait, that's really cute.
Yeah. So you get this, and then like Pokemon will start doing more like natural things around you. You get more shots to take and better pictures that way.
Man,
yeah.
I'm just very pleased because like I think the game fully encapsulates its title. It is new Pokemon Snap. Like I think if someone liked the first one, this one is more of that with 200 plus Pokemon this time.
Yeah, that's another.
And
that's a good number. I'm happy with that number.
Like the game just moves. There's not too much bullshit. Like you go into courses, you take picture of Pokemon. The only thing, like if I was forced to pick a thing I didn't like, the only thing that's kind of holding me back is so in the first Pokemon Snap, it's kind of like, I started a new file and all I have is the first level. And then like you play the first level one time and then you unlock the second level. Then you play the second level one time and you unlock the third. And then after that, you kind of have to either find secrets or get enough points to unlock the further levels. Mm-hmm. This one, you kind of have to play the first level like 5 or 6 times to unlock the second one. So it's a little annoying like whenever you start out the game and you want more courses. But I mean, it's still good.
They want you to do is they're introducing things like they're introducing the apple and the scanning, and then they introduce requests, which are you get like basically side missions from the NPCs. They're like, I'm trying to find a Torterra yawning. Can you find a yawning picture for me? And you gotta figure out how to make a Torterra yawn.
Bitch, why? Why do you need that? Why do you need that picture?
Scientific research.
I think it's cool that they added the missions, but yeah, some of them are a little like. Mm-hmm. This is dumb.
I mean, as a gameplay mechanic, I feel like that's
I do think it's cool because if I'm replaying the course now, I know what to look for.
There are some that are like, oh, there's a bunch of charred like berries under here. Why are these like? Why is all this fruit charred? We gotta figure this out. Ooh. And then you unlock the fruit, and when you throw the fruit down there, a Pokemon comes over and does their thing, and you can take a picture of it while they do the thing. And you're like,
Simisear.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not. I mean, I had a 1 in 500 chance of getting the right fire type, so.
It's not a fire type. That's plot twist.
Oh, that's a good twist.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly shocked. So my thing with this game is I never played Pokemon Snap. I watched playthroughs of it. I was like, man, this is neat. So I don't know, like, hands-on if I would enjoy it. But, like, 200 Pokemon, and they're not all Gen 1, and I'm a fucking Pokemon slut. I
think it's pretty sick.
I'm the filthiest little Poke slut, so it's like...
My big shock was that you get to the end of the first level, and one of the Pokemon they chose was the Ring of Flowers as one of the Pokemon.
I love Comfy. It's it's very good in VGC. Okay, see, that's the kind of stuff that sells me, that they're like, I want to see the hot picks.
They got good picks. They got hot picks.
So I unlocked the second area, and so I went through the first area. I was like, oh, this is kind of vanilla. Something I really liked about Pokemon Snap was this is another reason why I like it, to bring it back to Disney, is that Pokemon Snap feels like I'm on a Disney dark ride, and you're going through so you get these little marionettes of things. So the first area is like, oh, this is kind of cute, but it's kind of boring. The second area is a jungle, and I feel so much more adventurous going through it. Like, you have an Arbok that's, like, stalking you in the bushes.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah. So you were like, all right, cool. That was the one thing I was worried about, is that we might not get, like, cool environments like that. And then immediately as I was going through that level, I was like, that's a whole other path. How the fuck do I go down that path? I know I can do that.
Do y'all know how many zones there are per chance?
I think there's 4 or 5.
Do you think there's a chance that they'll add a DLC zone with new Pokemon or not?
I mean, we thought about that for Mario Party.
And then it did happen, though. Mario Party got DLC.
Oh, no.
Or not DLC, but it got an update at least.
It exclusively did not get DLC.
Yeah. My bad.
But I am thoroughly enjoying it. Like, I'll play it, and I'll play it for like an hour or two, and be like, all right, I've had my fun. And I'm kind of a little bit frustrated, not trying to figure out how to do this. And then I'll play some League, and then I think back to it's like, man, taking pictures of Pokemon is really fucking fun. And then,
Oh, man, I just bought Returnal, but like I kind of want to just feel it, you know. I kind of want to see what I'll find.
It's also great if you're having like a stressful day and you kind of just like you're at that weird moment where it's like I want to play a game, but I also want to like have a show on the side, but I don't want to think while I'm playing the game. I kind of want to like, to me, I've been looking for a game that's like I want to play a game, have a show on the side, but not have to overly concentrate on the game.
Yeah, because between playing 0-3 A rank and Returnal, which is fuck hard, and Monster Hunter, which you cannot sleep on, like all I have right now are hard games, and then I have Pyro Warriors 4 on the rare occasion. So I need a chill out game. Teppen I gotta focus on, so it's like I got a lot of focus games right now.
Yeah, like I put this game on, and then I put on like Critical Role or like some other comedy show, and I'm just like, oh, this is good. I feel nice and warm, and I take my pictures. The one thing I do wish though is that I wish there was a way for the cart to go faster sometimes.
You'll unlock it. You'll get it. You'll find it.
Hopefully.
Tyler, are you interested in this at all?
I didn't really play the first Pokemon Snap. I think these are great. I think they're probably some of the coolest games ever made.
Yeah.
I think you would really like this because
I probably would. I played it like so. I did play it, but I never owned it. It's like, oh, I'm at the orthodontist or dentist's office. I'm gonna play Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
Cute. Bradley, give us a who would win for us to wrap up.
Who would win? Wolverine versus Hulk.
That's actually a comic, and I believe the answer is
well. And they even made a movie of it, but like in the movie, they fight for a substantial portion of the movie. And then instead of like actually getting a conclusive winner, some other bad guy shows up and they're like, fuck,
yes,
we gotta team up to beat the bad guy.
That is the versus movie staple. King Kong versus Godzilla had it, but at least like Godzilla clearly won.
Yeah, it pisses me off though.
Who won in that? Wasn't it like Wolverine wins because he's indestructible?
I forget.
But Hulk, I saw a comic page where Hulk was atomized, and then like his essence was like, my essence is too angry to die.
Yeah, you know.
Or no, that was Juggernaut, where Juggernaut was like, I can't be stopped.
Yeah, so.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Hulk cool, Juggernaut dumb.
That's a tough one because I didn't think he'd pick something so real from the same universe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Hulk. He can probably yeet Wolverine into space.
I think Hulk as well because I'm pretty sure Hulk can easily rip Wolverine in half.
No. Wolverine's adamantium. That's like unbreakable.
Yeah, you can't rip that motherfucker in half.
He can rip the skin off though.
Yeah, but then Wolverine regenerates it.
Yeah.
The easier win is just chuck him into space. Wolverine can't breathe in space.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right.
You gonna say something, bitch?
No, I'm not gonna say nothing.
Wait,
okay.
Wait.
I had a thought, and I go, wait, no.
No.
It's gone.
Say it. Say it,
No,
bitch.
it's gone.
No, dude, say
Gone.
it.
I refuse. I plead the fifth.
Oh my god.
Tyler, you son of a bitch.
I could cut it out if it's bad. Just say it.
No, I don't remember.
All right, fair enough. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us on this podcast. Thank you all for being here, gentlemen. I'll catch y'all next time.
Yeah, talk to you in 2 minutes.
Peace.
Yep.
It has been